Hold me closer, tiny landy. Squeeze me with that air suspension. Soft close. You join me inside the 21 Land Rover Range Rover HSE Westminster Edition. This is not a limited production model. Land Rover is going to make as many as people will buy, but it is a special edition, so you get a bunch of nice features on top of the HSE's packaging. And most importantly, it's not messing with what the Range Rover has become, at least the last couple decades, which is very posh executive travel with incredible off-road capability. It was originally, when it was introduced in 1969, a more utilitarian off-roader in two-door form that then in 81 added the five-door model and then has just progressively gotten nicer and nicer. And now today, this is what we have, a super premium, really still very capable, in fact, way more capable than it was originally, SUV. This is not the only way you can get your luxury SUV fix for around $100,000. We've got the Mercedes-Benz GLS, there is the BMW X7, the Cadillac Escalade, but all of those vehicles have one thing that the Range Rover does not, and that is a third row of seating. Yeah, this vehicle, even in long wheelbase form, only has 2 rows of seating, and so therefore it more directly competes against the Mercedes-Benz G-Class, the G-Wagon, because that one, like the Range Rover, has crazy off-road potential, off-road chops, but it is still very nice and has 2 rows of seating. Which one should you choose? What are the Range Rover's merits? That's what we're going to find out today on Miles Per Hour. And there it is, the 21 Land Rover Range Rover HSE P400 Westminster Edition. I think I got all the names in there. This one is painted in Byron Blue Metallic. It is a no-cost option, and I love this color. You can see the metallic flake on the surface of that paint. I love the color because it's different. It stands in contrast to all of the bold, in-your-face blues that we're seeing flood the automotive market right now. Many of which I like, to be fair, but this is just unique. It's like a cool breeze. And it's also, I swear, like 3 colors in one. Because when it's overcast, it's just outright gray. When the sun is on it like now, it's a blue-gray, almost seafoam. And then around sunset, it really becomes like a violet. It's a wonderful, deep color. And it suits the Range Rover perfectly. Getting into the exterior design, not much has changed in the last 9-10 years, but it all just works. We've got these interlocking segments here in this brushed metal finish. Embedded within one of those is the Land Rover badge. Range Rover is spelled out across the clamshell hood, and they are not flush letters, they are raised. Cool. Signature daytime running lights. You see these LEDs in this shape, you know it's the big boy, the big Range Rover. Standard LED headlights. The Westminster gets the adaptive LED headlights. These are your washer jets. Clean off those headlights when you're mudding off-road. Functional air inlets here. Fog lights. And then this silver painted garnish for the lower bumper. And there's black gloss treatment around the border of that grille. When you step to the side, you can really see the roundedness of that nose. This is the most contemporary part of the Range Rover, even though, again, it's been the same shape for a number of years now. That roundedness right there. Because when we get to the other part of the silhouette, it's classic Rover. I also like that the taillights taper right here into this shape, and then that goes straight into a character line that runs the length of the vehicle. This Westminster model, I keep wanting to say minister, it's just Minster, is clad in 21-inch multi-spoke silver painted alloy wheels, wrapped in Pirelli, I keep wanting to say P0, that's just, I'm so used to performance vehicles, Pirelli Scorpion all-season tires, 275 section at all 4 corners. And we've got Land Rover spelled out on the brake calipers in there in black. Body color matching heated power folding door mirrors on the Westminster model. This bright silver accent on the side, classic Rover. Makes a sort of L shape there, long L. And then stepping back, this is that iconic Rover profile. So roundedness in the front, little new, but when you look at the profile, the angle of that back glass, really just the A-pillar back, is just like instantly recognizable for the last 50-odd years as a Rover. Granted, only from 81 on was it a 4-door, or 5-door rather, but still instantly recognizable. You've got the pillars in black gloss to kind of give it that separation. And then that extended L kind of upturns here to bottom the LED taillights. And like the headlights which tapered in this shape, these are also connected to the character line. Cool 3D effect to these LED taillights, especially at night. You can see the HSE P400 badging. Silver garnish below the Range Rover spelled out. Very similar to the silver garnish on the bottom of the front bumper. And also similar to the hood, Range Rover are on raised letters. Very subtle roof-mounted spoiler up here with black gloss treatments and body color matching. From here you can see the panoramic glass roof. Down below, body color matching fades to black plastic, but it's not overdone. And then down here are these really hatched, someone just came along and sliced those off, dual exhaust outlets, and they're real exhausts, but larger outlets than the actual pipes. But neat, and just refined. This vehicle is refined. Classic, handsome, upscale Range Rover. Don't need to mess with it. I don't know what the next generation Rover is going to look like. Guarantee it won't be a huge departure. Look for front and rear updates, but that same silhouette, it's just good. Okay, let's go to the interior. And on our way in, we'll see we've got keyless entry, so you can leave the key in your pocket, just pull on the door handle to unlock it. To lock it, you put your finger on that indent right there. We've got that for the front doors, and for the rear ones. Maximum convenience. Opening up now and looking inside. This spec right here is with the ivory color interior. A perfect choice for the Byron blue exterior and the shadow walnuts wood veneer trim. To start with the standard features for every Range Rover, you will get leather seating surfaces. They will be heated front seats, 12-way or 16-way power adjustable, can't remember off the top of my head. You'll get a panoramic glass roof, acoustic front glass, a 12-inch digital gauge cluster that's off at the moment, 2 10-inch displays with wired, not wireless, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And now we can present the Westminster Editions upgrades for $11,500, a chunk of change to be sure. You get a bevy of additional features. You'll swap out the standard leather seating for perforated Windsor leather seating surfaces. The leather is superbly supple, very pleasant on your bottom or your arm or your head, whatever may touch it. They are now cooled and heated front seats. You get a refrigerator compartment in here. So there's a left tab that you can open up, and you've got some storage, not a ton, but some storage and access to 2 USB ports, not USB-Cs, USB ports, and an HDMI slot. Pull the right tab, however, and now it opens up the refrigerator compartment with 2 cooling settings. Probably deep enough and wide enough for 2 medium-sized water bottles, not big bottles. We'll get into that later. We also now have a 19-speaker Meridian sound system, 850 watts. 20-way power adjustments for your front seats. No massaging. Cooled, heated, yeah, no massaging. A head-up display that's also not on at the moment. 4-zone climate control. Ambient lighting. The ambient lighting in here is very cool because there's 3 different layers of it. You've got the footwell level, then you've got the belt line level at the doors, and then at the top of your pillars, there's also ambient lighting. Speaking of ambient lighting, these seat controls are illuminated at night. Pretty neat. The lights that surround the seat. We also get aluminum tread plates as part of the, and they say Range Rover on them, as part of the Westminster package. And what's a super luxe SUV without soft closed doors? Thank you. So yeah, Westminster brings a ton of stuff. I didn't even list everything. We'll get to the back seats when we get back there. But ton of good stuff. Just a really exquisite cabin. Okay, so looking at the door panel first, we can see there is leather all the places you would expect there to be leather. Even down here, this is not just cheapy plastic, it is covered in leather. On the inner part of it, I believe that's also, yes, that's also leather, along with some felt lining. So just really nice luxury details. This whole panel right here is part of the Meridian sound system, along with these tweeters up here. Your window controls, pretty interesting. So these feel like plastic, might be aluminum pieces, hard to tell, but they're brushed plastic if anything, and they are illuminated at night with these little lights here. This piece right here, you know what? I think it's time to start up the vehicle because then we're going to see the tech features more clearly. Start button. Everything comes to life. It's going to be upsetting me because the door is open. That's the only reason I didn't want to start it. And I can't make that beeping go away. Although it's not a really bad beep. Da-da-da-da. It's just like, hey, I noticed that your door is open. You may want to close that, dude. Back to the window controls. So what wasn't illuminated when the vehicle was off are these various settings, including power folding your door mirrors, if you wish to do that. Press that button right there. Hello, Miles shirt. And then you can press the left one. It will illuminate the left door mirror, and then you can power adjust that. The right one, so far so good. These are fine. They work very well. In harsh sunlight, you won't be able to see the signatures or the styles very well. That's the only critique I have with that. Leather all up here. Bird fight going on. The shadow walnut wood trim in there. Leather stitched in here. Very nice. Aluminum door handle. Nice solid feel to that door handle. That's all good stuff. Hopping into the seats. Well, before I do, we also have, as standard, Range Rover rubber floor mats. Solid feel, and you'll want that because you don't want the nastiness of the mud from your boots when you're out hunting in your Range Rover to get all over the nice carpeting. We also have aluminum pedals, brake and gas pedal. Your trunk release button is here, and this is not cheapy plastic. That was dirty from someone else, not me. This is not cheapy plastic. It's really nice feeling plastic there. You can press that, and it will open up the clamshell. We'll go to the back in a sec. Actually, it just opens the top. It doesn't open the tailgate. Press and hold again for just a sec, and it will do the rest for you. Now, getting inside. Tempting not to fall over. Closing the soft close door. Letting it do the rest. Oh good, the bonging stopped now. So looking at the steering wheel, I mentioned this is one of the upgrades. It's a wood and leather steering wheel, in addition to the Westminster, I mean. And the leather just feels fantastic. The wood looks cool and classy and goes with the wood veneer in certain places. And you know, for a cabin that's been in largely the same orientation apart from the Touch Pro Duo that was a recent addition, it doesn't look dated at all. It just looks stately and nice. This is all good. Doing a pan this way, you can see just how fantastic the visibility is in this cabin. The tall windows just permit for a ton of confidence as a driver being able to see. You do get standard blind spot monitoring, but you don't even need it because the visibility is so good. Looking at the steering wheel now, we have leather, of course, covering the airbag. Range Rover right there. Looks and feels very nice. I like the stitching on the airbag cover. These controls on the left and right side of the airbag cover are off when the vehicle is off. I'll show you. Open the door. They're off. Now to make them go on. So they're not constantly looking at you. They kind of just phase out a bit when the vehicle's off, which is good because these are large pieces right here. But there's a ton of functionality. So the right one is all of your adjustments for the cruise control system and your lane keep assist. So the standard features on the standard safety features on the Range Rover include automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, and I think lane departure warning. But the Westminster adds to that lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, and rear cross traffic alert, I believe, and 360-degree parking sensors. So yeah, some of your active safety stuff is going to be here on the right. On the left-hand side, volume and an adaptive menu selection. So when I press this menu button here, and I go into that screen, this has changed from your menu and volume controls to a toggle to go through that menu, which is pretty neat. I like the adaptive design of it. So you've got volume and seek, and these volume controls you can press up or down to make the volume go up or down, or you can swipe. So that's neat. Here is a favorite button, so you can program some favorites into your infotainment, and then just press the favorite button. It'll bring up a prompt. Which of your favorites do you want to access? And you can do that. Your hands-free Bluetooth answering or hanging up, your voice commands. Then in here, your gauge cluster. Right now we have it set up with one of the two layouts. We have the single dial right here, so your speed is going to be right there in the center, your tachometer on the outside. And then we've got a map on the right and your active safety features on the left. I can change this around by going back into the menu, then selecting what I want on the left info panel. Let's say I want trip summary. Now what I don't like is that there's not just a direct back button, so you have to then press up, up, up to go back. Now we can see there's trip information. Press menu again. And let's see, what do I want on the right info panel? I don't want a map, I want media information. I could do that. Then again, got to press up, 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 and we're back. Once again, let's change up. Oh, I may have turned up the volume. Well, fortunately, there's a physical volume knob here to turn that down. And if I want something else on the left info panel, heck, let's just change the layout altogether. So you go to here, and I can have a full map on the display if I want. Let's try that. How does that look? I could have two dials, more traditional. I must have pressed up by accident. There we go, two dials. And then you can change the info that's in the center of the display if you would like. So that's the gauge cluster. I won't go crazy in depth on it. If you want to see all of the various things you can program this to look like, including showing your off-road information, then you'll want to watch my walk around video. So JD will give a plug for that in the upper right-hand corner. Go watch that, because I'll go crazy in depth on everything. And you won't have to hear me talking. You'll just get to watch it. The head-up display is on at this point, so we can look at that. And it is adaptive, so it will show if you're using adaptive cruise control or lane keep assist. Those will show up there. It shows your speed limit posted in the area and some navigation information. That's all of that. We do have paddles on the steering wheel for all the manual shifting that you'll be doing. This is not a performance-oriented SUV. More on that when we actually get into the drive, but you can manually control it. The paddles are They are plastic, but they feel really high quality, much like the plastic that was on that panel right there. Feels nice and high quality, and they're not tiny paddles. They're good size. So it feels good to press those. We have our turn stocks. These are in slightly cheaper plastic. I don't know what it is with automakers and always using cheaper plastic for turn signal stocks, considering you're accessing them hopefully constantly. So you do have these nice metal look garnishes on the turn signal stock, but it is a cheaper plastic than this one. Turn signals there. That's what they sound like. Then you can do a one touch for a 3 signal and off. Over here on the right side, your windshield wipers, wiper controls. Looking over towards the center, we can see some aluminum trim. This is genuine aluminum, not plastic. Looks really nice. Up here, we have more aluminum around the air vents. Your start-stop button is there. This is what feels like leather. I believe that's leather. It might be some injection molding. I think it's leather. Up there on the top of the dashboard. Here are your displays. Now, I'm going to turn the car off. I'm doing this a lot. I'm going to turn the car off again because I want to show you when I open the door. The display will tilt back towards the center after I close the door again. It will tilt back towards the center. This drive selector has gone down into the center console area. When I turn the car on again, may have already tilted back, I'm not sure. Huh? There we go. Now it's back. So how can I show both these at once? Let's do a wide angle. Let's try that. So I can show the drive selector coming up at the same time and the screen tilting out when I start it up. You see that? It's cool. Little party tricks in the Range Rover. So now we're looking at our 10-inch Touch Pro Duo displays. This upper one is for all the controls of the infotainment and the navigation and your phone, and you can get into your 4x4 information in here. It's fairly intuitive, the graphics are really nice, and it's mostly quick. There have been a couple instances where I found this to be sluggish, and that was after the vehicle was running for a while, and it just was like, I'm tired. You could hear the fan come on to have to cool the system. So when you first start it up and are driving, you won't have any issues. After some time, you may get into some sluggishness that happens. So here you can get into 4x4 information all the way over here. You have to hunt in the display a bit more for that. And when you go here to your off-road information, took a second, we can see the suspension, you can see the wheel articulation, whether your center differential is locked or not. We can then press this button here and we'll get into the tilt of the vehicle, nose to tail, side to side. This is your compass along with your altitude. Over here, which of your driving modes are you in? And then your cameras over here. This particular Range Rover is not equipped with a 360-degree camera system, so you don't get all of the really cool off-road camera angles. Your wheels, the front of the vehicle, you just get a rear-facing view. You do have 2 angles on it, a super wide or a more narrow, but that's about it. And then your parking sensors. So that's your 4x4 information shown up here on the screen. You do also have a low traction launch here that will just optimize to mitigate any slip via the stability control system and the throttle and the transmission. Going back home, you can program your favorites into a home screen here if you would like, or you've just got the standard navigation, and navigation, yes, is standard on this vehicle. And we can see it's pretty darn responsive and the graphics are nice and sharp. Bluetooth smartphone, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto here are wired, so you got to plug into one of those 2 ports, or there's a third hidden one down here, but you have to use one of those too. And here's where we get into some of the kind of notorious electronic gremlin things that are perhaps going on with Jaguar Land Rover vehicles. I found that I could only get Apple CarPlay to work about 50% of the time. Plugged in fully, testing the cord to make sure it works, and then plugging in to my phone, and sometimes it would bring up the phone, sometimes it wouldn't. What was going on? I don't know. and it was really one day to the next. Like, it would work one day, enough for me to get B-roll of Apple CarPlay working, and then the next day it just wouldn't work. So I don't know what was going on there, but in theory we have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and maybe Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday you've got Apple CarPlay working. Okay, so there's your eco data. We haven't been driving very much since we started Huff, so nothing to show there. And then we can prompt down here where we have this additional 10-inch display and some more pardon me, specific controls for the vehicle. So you've got your media information here. If you've got your Bluetooth phone connected up here, it'll bring that up. Climate control off to the left, the different zones of climate that you want, and then your seats, specific setting for this one. You can heat or cool the back or bottom, and then you can go into this dial and say, I don't want actually 3, I want 1, or you know what, I actually want it to be cooled. So I'm just going to crank this to the left, and now you've got cooled seats. So that's pretty neat how that works. That's very intuitive, and I like that there is a specific screen for seats, so you can just go into that and it's really easy to use. Over here, vehicle. This is where all of your drive modes are. So as standard, you're going to have it'll be in comfort program whenever you start up the vehicle. You'll also have an eco program. You can either press these or you can press the second pop-up dial here. And now, zoom out as we show this, I can run through them, getting into eco, and it does take a second for it to change up the drive mode, even if you're touching it. So if I press comfort, now it's in comfort program. So it takes a second. The comfort program gives a different graphic than eco. Give it a second. There it is. We've got some trees in eco. And then dynamic. We've got a windy road. And again, you can do that with this, or you can do with that. When you press this down, it's going to be an auto terrain response. Then moving over into your off-road settings. We're going to have grass, gravel, snow. Different graphic for that one. Look, it's snow. Then we're going to have mud and ruts program. Recommend low range for that one. Sand. Dunes. And then the rock crawl program. Now you have to go into the low range for rock crawl. That just should be obvious. To go into low range, you press the 4 low button here. And you have to shift into neutral for that, actually. 4 low is engaged. It's going to raise up the vehicle, the air suspension system. It can raise it up to 3 inches. And if you want to get out of this, press the 4 low again. We'll take you out, and it will level back down the air suspension system. It is a 2-speed transfer case, of course, with that independent low range set of gears, so supremely capable in addition to having the ground clearance of the air suspension. So that's all of your off-road goodies. This button will just bring up this screen in here, the 4x4 information. If you need a hot selection of that, your start-stop button is a selection you can make that's on the vehicle. So you don't have to hunt too far. You just go into vehicle, then you press the start-stop if you want to turn that off. Additional settings here for your display. And that is pretty much this selection down here. Your seat controls, your climate. You can go through with the dials on left and right hand side, and if you want to adjust the fan speed, you press the fan button, and this one becomes a controller for the fan speed. Physical volume knob with rubberized texture around the control for the volume knob and for these dials. This has got some grippy material here around the gear selector, and this is pretty easy to use. If you want to go into sport, you press down a little bit and it comes over to sport. Land Rover right here in an aluminum backing. Traction control system is here. Your parking brake is here. And this is all your shadow walnut trim. What's cool about this that I noted is every time I get into a German vehicle, when I press on the trim, sometimes it's here, sometimes it's up on the dashboard, there's like defined creaks that happen when you press on it. This one, anywhere I'm pressing, it's really, really solid. So that's just high build quality here. We can have our issues with the electronics, and I'll show you the seat folding as well, or have some small issue with that. But the build quality is very, very solid at this point. You can slide this back, and we reveal we've got cup holders. They're not just cup holders, they're rubberized. So it's going to keep your beverages from sloshing about when you're off-roading. Here is our key fob. See Land Rover on the back there. Some plastic backing, but chrome around there. And it's got nice heft to it. Your lock and unlock, your lights, you turn those on, and your trunk release, and hazards. And this is all rubberized in the back. So not leather or anything, truly exquisite for the key fob, but it is high quality. And what's cool is you can slide this forward, and now we have a deeper pocket. Look how deep that is. That's up to my forearm there, where you can stash other items. It's sort of like hidden storage. And then we've got an additional USB port, not USB-C, additional USB port just for charging. It's not going to plug in your CarPlay or anything like that. But I love how that slides. That's all really nice. The leather up here on the center console, very nice. And hey, look at that. Go wide for a sec. We've got armrests. Armrests for the front seats. And these, when you loosen them, you can lower the armrest a little bit further than it was before. When you tighten it, it'll lock it into the highest height. But armrests, man, if that doesn't talk about like daily driving, cruising comfort, I don't know what does, but that's really cool. Showed you the refrigeration compartment, but I didn't show you turning on the lights for the 2 different stages of cooling. That's all neat. Speaking of neat, how about 2 glove boxes? So you can press this button up here, top, and now you've got access to an upper glove box. Not too much storage in there, just enough for a granola bar and a garage door opener. And it's a CD display? Interesting. Or CD input. Another DC socket over there too. That's cool. Then press the bottom button, and the bottom glove box opens up along with our manual. Nice blue leather here. That's really cool. Land Rover embossed there. Stitched. Good stuff. That's a nice manual right there. But yeah, good size lower glove box. It takes a little bit of grunt to close. Up here showed you the auto dimming rearview mirror. No digital rearview mirror. Up here are your controls for your sun roof and sun visor, your sunshade rather. Now one interesting thing, for the 21 model year, they got rid of the gesture control for your sun visor. So it used to be that I could just swipe and the sun visor would go back, or press, or rather push, wave, and the sun visor would come forward. That is no longer a feature for 21. I had to reach out to them and ask, because I was like doing this like a million times and nothing was happening. And they said, yeah, we got rid of that. Not sure why, but they did. So you have to press the button to make the sun visor close. It's neither the slowest nor the fastest sun visor I've experienced. But it closes up, and it does let some light through. We can also see that there's some little leaves or something that got trapped in there. But yeah, so it's not completely blacking out the roof. But there's that, and then this is neat. So your sunroof opens to a pretty good size gap here. So typically these sunroofs, I feel like, only come to like there. This one opens that far, and then your wind baffle right there. When you press the close button, it will leave the back tilted up like that. Then you can close it up. No leather or Alcantara for the headliner, but you do get leather grab handles with nice metal look end caps there. This is just, that's very nice. Sun visor, how's that look? So good size vanity mirror here with plenty of illumination. Pull this over, it does not slide. Doesn't slide, that's unfortunate. But you do get a second sun visor, so that's neat. And with that, I think we're done with the front seats, so let's hop into the back and see what we've got. Oh, I was still in drive. Look at that. I was still in drive. That's fun. All right, hop into the back. See what we've got going on back there. Not gonna care how I close the door because it would soft close anyway, but hey, closed it just right. Oh, and there are soft close for the front and for the rear doors. Gotta love that. Opening up the back and looking inside. More of that beautiful ivory leather, perforated just like the front seats. The Windsor leather, it is just so soft. I can't get over how soft it is. Love the stitching on the headrest, just like the front seats. Very, very nice. So the second standalone option, I mentioned the heated steering wheel, the second standalone option on this one right here is cooling for the rear seats. So with the Westminster, they're going to be heated rear seats, add in the standalone for $300 and something, JD will tell me, cooled seats on this one. The backs of the seats here are in a nicer plastic. It is not leather back there. I may be wrong, is that? No, this is leather. This is, you know what? I think this is all leather. I stand corrected. I thought that was plastic at first, but it is all leather. All leather for the seat backs. And look at that opening for your behind seat storage. That's really nice. Looking at the doors, just like the front, there's leather in all the places you would want to see. Plenty of speakers, more leather, more stitching, that shadow walnut veneer here, and power controls for your rear seats. That's a Westminster special. So these are as reclined as the seats go, but you can incline them to there. So you're not like, I've found luxury vehicles with a lot more recline than that. It's enough recline to help you feel like you're relaxed, but not where you're gonna like take a snooze easily in the back. Lock and unlock controls. This is a blind spot monitor here. So if you see this flashing before you open the door, it means there's probably a bicycle or car coming alongside you and you should not open the door. It's a nice safety touch right there. Just like the front, good solid aluminum door handles, feel really good. This all here is down here is leather with that felt lining. And then up here, the window controls. This is pretty neat. Same window controls on the left-hand side as on the right-hand side, and this is what you get. One, you're gonna get one touch up-down windows, a firm one touch. And they do go all the way down, well, almost all the way down, look at that. They are dual pane glass, and then one touch raise. And they're tinted from the factory. Here is where it gets cool. So you've got to control, here you can say, I want to control my window, or I want to control my passenger's window, and mine. So you can control both at one time. It's pretty neat, or a way to be a real nuisance as a rear passenger to your mate. You can also just press the right control and just control your passenger's window if you want to be an additional nuisance. Then we have some reading light adjustments. So you have a light here for if you want to just read a book. That will illuminate that light in sort of an amber glow. Natural light, you might call it. Then you've got a computer light. When you press that, it's so much brighter. I've got some footage of that. It looks like a searchlight. There's so much brightness that comes from that computer light. It's pretty cool that you've got both settings. And then you can also open or close the sunshade from back here. So it's neat that either rear passenger can do that. I suppose if you have kids, that would be kind of annoying. You can prohibit some of the settings from up at the infotainment, but you can't prohibit them from changing all the things. My favorite one, I think, and probably the one that's going to be the most annoying to drivers if the kids are back here and they're just pressing this, is you can turn on and off the volume from the sound system from back here. So you just press this button. If you don't like what's being played as a rear passenger, you're like, I'm done with that. You press that and it will mute. It's pretty cool. All right, now getting back into the seat. This is my own driving position at 6 feet tall. And there's a decent sized foot pocket. It's not massive, but enough for me to slide my foot under, decrease that knee angle. You can see I've got a little bit of knee room here, 2.5 inches, and headroom. Well, certainly with the seat in this position, I have plenty of headroom, but let's tilt it upright a bit more. Now it's fully tilted up. Let's see what headroom I have. Still have headroom. Favorite thing about the Range Rover, I think, is the feeling of space in this cabin. Just so much headroom and therefore so much volume and just natural luxury feel that comes from space. That's what this vehicle really gives you. So I love that about the Range Rover. Down here, we have, as part of the Westminster, 4 zones of climate control. So you can adjust your independent climate. You can press this, and now this is a adjustment for your seating. So you've got 3 levels of ventilation, or 3 levels of heating, or none at all. Press it again, back to ventilation. fan speeds, all that. We've got 2 USB ports down here, and then down there. There's your AC socket. Would have helped if I had opened that. This is all leather, by the way. It's covered in leather, so that's super nice. But yeah, your AC socket is down there. 2 DCs on either side of, or 1 DC on either side of the USB ports. So plenty of charging options. Then we've got a center console. You can pull this down, and we've got these 2 cup holders, metal linings for these, so it keeps your hot beverages hot. They're not temperature controlled, so there's no like electric current coming through them to heat or cool beverages, and no fan alternatively for cooling, but you do have that metal lining, so it does help them keep their heat a little bit better. Then a small little cubby in here, not really sure what you'd put in here. Looks like square napkins would fit in there perfectly. But yeah, it's nice to have this center console feel, and there's enough space here for your arm to rest gently. So that is the center console area there. Just like the front, we've got leather for the grab handles, hook for your clothes, air vents, open and close there, and then your crazy bright lights. Yeah, so I really do like the back seat of this vehicle. If I wanted to feel like I had limousine-like space beyond the headroom, you could get the long wheelbase version of this vehicle, lengthens the wheelbase by 7.8 inches, and that's really gonna let you stretch out. As is right here, I feel comfortable, but I would like a little less of the knee kink. That's the only complaint I have for the back seats. And just like the front, we got rubber floor mats here, so it's gonna make cleaning out this vehicle super, super easy. And with that, let's go to the trunk, where I can show you one of my favorite features, the clamshell trunk. So you can just raise up the top, classic Range Rover, or you can also lower the bottom, and now you've got a tailgate. That's why I love my Land Cruiser, the tailgate. And nice and carpeted. This is a comfortable place to sit. You can have lunch back here, just enjoy yourself in your $100,000 SUV. But this is really cool. If you want to raise the tailgate independently, you press that button down there. But let's look at this back here. So this is your nice fabric cover, really solid feeling cover. And you can shrink it up to there, or remove it completely if you want. Rubberized floor mats here, very nice. Under here is your full-size spare tire. Look at that. To prove this is the off-road vehicle you thought it was. Got some tie-down points here. Another AC socket back here, 180 watts DC. So anything you need to plug in for your camping, or if you got a power washer or something like that for your boots, you can do that back here. Air suspension adjustment, so I can lower the booty of this vehicle quite a bit for lifting in luggage or anything of that nature very easily. And it goes down really far and very quick as well. So look at this, look how low that is now. By contrast, you can raise it up quite a bit if you're worried about clearing the tailgate with your head. And again, really quick, already there. Now we're super high off the ground. You also have your seat controls back here. And this is where things get a little dicey with the electronics again. So they are power folding seat controls. Press these buttons, and it's now going to do it perfectly just to spite me. So you see the seats go forward, and then it looks like they've stopped, but it's actually to allow the front seats to go forward. And now one seat is gone, and the second seat is going now. And now they're down, okay? But that's how long that whole process took. It took quite a while. When I've done this before, one seat will just decide it doesn't want to fold, just at that very moment. Now I'm going to raise them. We'll see if they do it right. Okay, so they're starting to raise. And now the left side doesn't want to raise. Okay, so still fully pressed on the buttons. The left side is just decided. It's like, oh, no, I don't want to raise. I'm now going to have to unpress and press again to make it do it. So it's a bit finicky, it's a long process, and they're not fully done because it's got to wait for the front seat to come back. It's just a long, long process. But you've got power folding rear seats, you know, you don't have to do it manually. Some vehicles, I was just in the Cayenne, and you couldn't even fold them manually from the back, you had to go to the side. So I guess we'll just take what we can get. You have power folding seats, sometimes they're gonna be a little annoying, and all the time they're gonna take forever. So that is the back. This is not leather or anything like that, but you do have 2 grab handles. That's neat, and LED lights back there. If you wanna fold both these at one time, the tailgate and the clamshell, just press the button. It's like a mouth. Oh, got it. So with all that done, we have 2 last things to do. What do we think they are? Well, if you've seen this before, one, we're gonna do the big bottle test. So here's that. And we're gonna start with the cup holders up here. I gotta clear some space, move out the way, and at first pass, it looks like it just doesn't fit, but you know what? Because it's rubberized, you can press it down, and now it holds the bottle really snugly. So your big bottle will fit in the cup holders of the Range Rover. Snug enough to make it hard to actually pull it out. The door pockets will also accommodate your big bottle, it looks like. Got to do the door test. Yes, it stays. So you've got to pass for the Range Rover for your big bottle test. And that means it's just time to rev it up. Oh, no soft limiter in this, by the way. So I can take it all the way out if I want to. Oh, and last thing I'm gonna ask you, please subscribe at this point. If you've been watching the video and you enjoy it, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and share it. Thank you. Let's go drive. The Range Rover Westminster doesn't have anything like a launch control system, so the way you'll get quick acceleration off the line is simply going to Sport Powertrain setting with the drive mode dial, drive selector dial, and then popping up your drive mode dial and going to, let's try dynamic mode, okay? So that all done, it's as simple as putting your foot hard on the accelerator and seeing what happens. Here we go. Some hesitation, turbo's going, there we go. There we go. Took a second. And now we're moving quickly. So after a brief pause, you do get moving for sure. And now we're coming up to a corner. We'll see how it handles that, including checking our brakes here. So let's go hard on the brakes. Ooh, nice. Hauls the vehicle down, no problem. And then through this S. Not much feel through the steering wheel. And there is a bit of body roll. Yeah, I don't know what you would expect. With this particular vehicle, this is definitely tuned for comfort, not for corner carving. So that was, I suppose, just to tell me that you can go through some corners with a reasonable amount of confidence, but off the line acceleration is not going to set your hair on fire, and going through corners is not what this vehicle is set up for. So let's go back to comfort drive mode, and then let's go to your normal powertrain setting and ease into what the Range Rover does best. Well, one of the 2 things it does best, because we're on road still, which is just cruising in plush luxury. So here we go. Just letting that inline 6-cylinder turbo do its thing. And that is one of 2 engine options you have in the Westminster. You can choose a supercharged V8 with 518 horsepower on tap, but we have the inline 6 turbo with 395 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque, and both engine options are connected to an 8-speed automatic gearbox from ZF, also connected to an all-wheel 4-wheel drive system. This is a 2-speed transfer case. It is a legitimate 4-wheel drive system. And the fuel economy, well, if you choose the supercharged V8, then you're looking at 14 or 15 combined MPGe, but the inline 6 will give you 20 combined MPGe from 17 city and 23 highway. So much more palatable, and if you will be commuting in this thing often, you'll appreciate the extra MPGe that you have here. But cruising along now at highway speeds, This is just so pleasant. It's so, so nice. First off, we have acoustic glass here, so it's absorbing all the nasty wind noise and road noise, and the tires are all seasons. They're not really for performance as we just experienced there, but that means that with thick sidewalls, even on 21-inch wheels, they just soak things up, and I don't hear any tire squeal. This is just, it's just so nice. So, so nice. That air suspension doing its job as well, absorbing all the road blemishes, so it's just a really comfortable, enjoyable driving experience in the Range Rover. And I mean, can't get over these seats. So many adjustments. You can find a comfortable driving position for yourself. Can't get over the headroom and the feeling of luxury and premium that you get with that. You just, space is a thing of the rich, and that is what we have here. We have plenty of space. My tall visibility point with the tall windows makes me feel like I'm just above everyone else around me. And that's kind of what you're paying for here. You're also paying for armrests. We have those. And so it's just a wonderful driving experience if you have the right expectations, which is just luxury, 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 luxury. And you do have some driving assistance features here along with the Westminster package. You get those, including adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assist. Noted I didn't say lane centering assist or steering assist, because with the lane keeping assist system, we'll try it out now. Make sure no one's around. Go into the lane. It will keep me in my lane, but then it's going to ping pong me back to the other side. It's not going to center me and keep me there in the lane. So you are going to have to be checked in for sure with the driver aids in this vehicle, but they do their job as advertised. But now we've got to go a bit off-road. We're not going to do anything too crazy. I don't have access to that in the immediate area, but let's just go get some dirt on the tires, okay, and see how it does. Then we'll come back here and we'll wrap it up with a competitive discussion. Sound good? Cool. All right, I found my way to a genuinely mild bit of off-roading here, but I'm looking at some gravel, so I'm going to switch up the drive program to grass, gravel, and snow. I'm going to cover all those bases, and we're just going to set off here and see how it feels. I don't need to raise the air suspension for what I'm looking at here, but you can, if you need, up to 3 additional inches over the normal ride height. And that's going to really help the approach, departure, and breakover angles. But right now I'm just looking for how does this feel, right? And I mean, the smoothness cannot be understated. This is some nastier bit right here. Barely felt that at all. That was crazy. And motors along easily up the hill, power to spare. Don't need the supercharged V8 for that part, that's for sure. Some ruts, not in the mud and ruts program, but if I needed to, I could get into the mud and ruts program. Fairly dry, so I'm not worried about that. Not worried about traction. This is just easy, so, so easy. And that's really the Range Rover formula off-road. Just make everything just effortless. And that's what this feels like. Granted, it's not too challenging, but it does just feel effortless. It gives you so much confidence as a person taking a vehicle off-road. Here's a bigger hill, power up it. So much power to spare, so much. And then through nasty stuff, here's a tight turn. Easy, great turning radius in this one. And then down we go. Now, I'll wait to the next hill to try something else out. I can access the 4-range low. It is a genuine 2-speed transfer case for the real mucky stuff with a low-range set of gears, but I also have a hill descent control when I access low range. So I'll wait till the hill part and start that up. All right, this looks like a good enough hill for me. So we're gonna test out the hill descent control. To do that, I have to go into 4 low range. So go into neutral, press the 4 low button here on the center console. It'll take just a second to engage 4 range low, while also, whether I need it or not, raise up the air suspension to off-road height. It's gonna take a couple seconds to do that. When we're all done and set, the 4 low button will be fully illuminated as it is now. I go back to the drive mode. And then for hill descent control, it's as simple as taking your foot off the brake. And it's just gonna slowly work its way down this hill. If I wanna go faster, I can just press up on the set button, the set plus button on your adaptive cruise control setting, and it'll go back down faster. If I want to really slow down, if I'm worried about what I'm dealing with then you press down on the negative button for your adaptive cruise control. But that's it. It's just so simple. That, again, that is this vehicle. Just make everything complicated super, super simple. Now we're done with that. If I want to go out of 4 range low, go back to neutral, hit the 4 low button. It'll take a second to engage high range. We're good. Back to drive, and away we go. It's going to keep me at the off-road ride height, but why not? You're off-road. Look cool. Look tall. You're in a Range Rover. And man, just beating down quickly on this road. Get a feel for just how sophisticated this suspension is. This stuff is nothing to the suspension. It absorbs everything before it gets into the cabin. That was the harshest bump I felt. And that was a really harsh bump when I'm looking at it. Amazing. All right, consider me convinced. The Range Rover can hack it off-road very easily. Again, without really challenging it all that much. Let's go back to the on-road. Back on the road now to discuss competitors for this Range Rover Westminster, which starts at just under $105,000. As tested, this one's just under $107,000 with the extra goodies like the heated steering wheel and the rear-cooled seats. That gets you to just under $107,000. For that amount of money, if you want a luxury SUV, and say you're looking at 3-row luxury SUVs, well, now you've got the BMW X7 M50i. Again, looking at that around $100,000 starting price. That vehicle has 523 horsepower, so a lion's share more power than you get in this vehicle. It's going to be a lot quicker to 60, 4.1 seconds. Fuel economy is not going to be as good because you get a V8, so it's going to be 17 combined MPGe for that vehicle. And I really like the X7 M50i. If you need 3 rows and you got about $100,000 to spend, I would definitely steer you in that direction. Or you have the Mercedes-Benz GLS 580. That's going to make 483 horsepower. It's going to get to 60 in 5.1 seconds. The fuel economy is going to be 18 combined in that vehicle, so not that much farther off of the 20 combined MPG that you get in the Range Rover Westminster. And that vehicle's fine. I have no strong praise for it. I have nothing really bad to say about it, but it doesn't woo me quite as much as the X7 M50i. And if you don't have quite $100,000 to spend, but you want a 3-row luxury SUV, well, you've got the Cadillac Escalade Premium Luxury 4-wheel drive. That stacks up most nicely with the features available in this Westminster model, and that's going to be $84,000 and some change. So a real bargain when you think about the X7 and the GLS and this. Nothing wrong to say about that one, but it's not quite as buttoned up, I would say, in terms of performance or in terms of poshness as the other vehicles that I mentioned. If you don't need 3 rows, though, look at this turning radius. So good. That matters off-road, that turning radius. If you don't need 3 rows. Well, now we're looking at the Mercedes-Benz G550, the G-Wagon. The G550 is the only non-AMG G-Class on sale right now, and so you're looking at $132,800. 28 grand more than this model. It does make more power at 416 horsepower. It is going to be quicker to 60 at 5.1 seconds, question mark. JD will correct me with the specs there. Quicker, more power, can handle better than this. Not a lot better because it's still a big box, but it can handle better with a wider contact patch, more hunkered to the ground. And it's going to have similar off-road capability. That one's got 3 locking differentials and good approach and departure angles. This one has electronic trickery for your off-road goodies and an air suspension that raises up and good approach and departure angles. So the off-road capability is going to be similar. The luxury experience, I would also say, is very similar. The fit and finish in this Range Rover is stellar. I would say perhaps even better than that G-Class. Is the tech better? No. The MBUX system in that G-Class is awesome. So customizable, so easy to use. Really, really very good. And that alone is worth a couple $1,000s more. Is it worth 28 grand more? No. So you have to really have the extra money to spend. You have to really like the look and feel of the G-Class. And there is definitely a specific look and feel to that model that attracts people. There also is that for the Range Rover. And I think that at a 28 grand discount compared to the G550, there isn't much to be upset about this vehicle. The electronic gremlins that you deal with on occasion, like the seats and some finicky stuff in the menus, that's just going to require a bit of extra patience. But again, you have a massive discount. and that's the only thing that's discounted. Everything else about this luxury experience is there. It's got the look, it's got the ride quality, it's got the off-road capability. This is it, guys. This is a really, really solid luxury SUV, and I think it's my pick of the Range Rover range, if I can say that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.